Tampa Bay News.
Good evening. Thanks for choosing 28 Tampa Bay News. I'm Brendan McLaughlin.
And I'm Marty Tucker. Here's what's happening tonight. If you think life behind bars should be a drag, you'll be glad to hear what's going on in 2 Florida jails. We'll have details. And 28 Tampa Bay News has uncovered what may be a new public health hazard. It could be as close as your favorite fast food restaurant. Linda Hurtado joins us with a story you won't see anywhere else.
And how much do you love your pet? Enough to spend $2,000, maybe $3,000 to save its life? If your answer is yes, you're not alone. More on those stories later, but first, a Manatee County Sheriff's deputy is in hot water for allegedly playing a sexual game of truth or dare with a teenager. He is charged with assault on one girl, but as reporter Don Germain reports, detectives are afraid there may be more victims.
Don Romaine is the talk of the Manatee County Sheriff's Office. Romaine was the advisor to the Explorers program until he was arrested for what police call a bizarre game of truth or dare.
He spanked the bare buttocks of a cadet who is 15 years old. 28
Tampa Bay News got a hold of the arrest report. Here's what it said. The girl told sheriff's deputies Romaine dared her to engage in sexual sadomasochistic acts.
Well, he was trying to get her involved in bondage and slavery, and he obviously did.
Court documents claim Romaine wanted the 15-year-old to be his submissive slave. Detectives raided Romaine's home and found multiple instruments used for sadomasochistic rituals. We wanted to talk to some of the parents of the Explorers to see what they had to say about this guy, but sheriff's officials wouldn't give us their names. That's because detectives say those kids are still considered witnesses or possibly even victims. We did talk to one former cadet who was not a victim and can't believe the allegations.
He was a nice guy. I mean, from my, understanding, he cared about us and, he would do anything he could for us.
The police Explorer Scouts had no comment about this incident. As for Romaine, he's resigned his post and for now is free on bond. In Manatee County, Don Germain, 28 Tampa Bay News.
Court records indicate Romaine had sexual activity with at least one other Explorer cadet. That relationship began 7 years ago. Marty?
It is guilty as charged for an accused child molester. A Highlands County jury has convicted 50-year-old Frank Potts of molesting a 12-year-old Lakeland girl. Potts is also a suspected murderer. He was arrested last March when somebody found a body on his property in Alabama. The Potts trial had to be moved from Polk County because of pretrial publicity. The judge has recommended a life sentence without the possibility of parole. And 2 Florida jails, one in Polk County, the other in Hillsborough, have decided that inmates have just too much of a good life. As Mark Joyella reports, from now on, some of the perks they've been enjoying will be taken away.
No doubt about it, jail's a drag. Lots of time on your hands and not a lot to do. But some inmates at the Polk County Jail came up with a way to break the monotony. Just say you're sick.
Joint pain, backaches, a multitude of complaints that you really couldn't put your finger on.
Every complaint gets you out of your cell and into the infirmary, whether you're really sick or not. So they slammed the door on the fake sick breaks. They started charging. Headache, $6. Toothache, $8. And guess what? Inmates started feeling a lot better.
Either 3/4 of our inmates have been beating the system, or we've had some miraculous healings in the county jail in the past couple months.
Now, inmates here in Hillsborough County may get a little sick of the new TV policy. The TV stays, but shows like Monday Night Football are out of here.
We don't want them to see anything that's entertaining that would make them think that they're in a good place.
Now, the inmates back in Polk County can catch the game, but if the score makes them sick, they're going to have to pay. In Polk County, Mark Joyella, 28 Tampa Bay News.
Folks in Polk County say charging inmates for health care will save taxpayers $250,000 this year alone.
Another kind of health care problem in the news tonight. Hillsborough County's health department is trying to prevent an outbreak of measles at a local daycare center. Public health nurses were giving immunization shots to staff and children at the Fun Factory preschool this afternoon. Last week, a 2-year-old boy came down with the measles. It's the first reported case in Hillsborough County in the last 3 years. The shots are the best way to prevent an outbreak.
This is a disease that is transmitted by person to person, so we're very concerned that other children could acquire it.
Symptoms associated with measles include high fever, coughing, runny nose, swollen eyes, and rashes. Medical care for kids can be expensive, but if you're like most parents, there's no price on love. But can you say the same about your pet? How much is too much to keep them healthy and alive? As Dawn Witt reports, some pet owners are facing a different kind of healthcare crisis.
Gonna get all fixed up today.
Meet Ollie. She's 8 years old, but very sick. She has diabetes, Cushing's disease, and now cataracts. Without surgery, she'll be blind for the rest of her life. This is Brandy. She's 2.5 and has heart failure. Without a pacemaker surgery, she'll die in a matter of months. And little Rocky, only 21 days old, born with a cleft palate that makes it impossible for him to nurse. Without surgery, he may starve to death. But all 3 of these dogs will survive, thanks to modern medicine and the generosity of their owners. The families are pulling thousands out of their wallets to keep their canine companions alive. The Campos have already spent more than $5,000 on Ollie, a stray they got free. And now this cataract surgery will run another $1,200.
People are more aware of what's available than they were 15 or 20 years ago. And because they know it's available for themselves, they expect it for their pets as well.
No limit. As long as I can save their life or help them, there's no limit to what I would spend. And we love our animals, and we don't have children, but they are our children.
You're very good. You're very good.
Yes. Brandy's heart rate was drastically slow. Now a pacemaker has brought her back to life at the price of $1,700.
I've had a lot of people tell me that, just put her to sleep, and all that, but there's no way I could do that. It'd be like saying that to a family member.
And little Rocky. He is proving to be a fighter. His owner has been feeding him carefully herself since he is unable to eat by himself until undergoing a $900 surgery. Now he'll easily hold his own with his bigger brothers and sisters.
Letting that dog die would have just been like throwing it away, but we couldn't let these dogs go.
And these folks are not alone. In fact, last year, people across the country spent more than $10 billion, that's $10 billion, all on veterinary care for their pets.
Well, Don, I love my dog as much as the next guy, but with people going without health care, is there some kind of limit to the types of surgeries you can have done?
Well, there certainly doesn't seem to be. In fact, the first successful kidney transplant between unrelated dogs was just done in September. And the cost of that, a whopping $10,000.
Well, spend your money on what you want, I guess. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Dawn. Well, don't drink anything until you know what's keeping your drink cool.
Next on 28 Tampa Bay News, we'll give you the scoop on how ice, that's right, ice, may be harmful to your health. No, your eyes aren't failing you. 3 in a row brings out the fans and the bucks for the Bucks.
And we've flipped the switch. Now we'll show you how 28 Tampa Bay News was born. We'll be right back.
It must be 28 Tampa Bay, well, ABC. If it's hot, looking great, and it's the only place to be. Working hard to be your favorite. Sports and news as it breaks. The one with all the shows you want to see. It must be 28 Tampa Bay, well, ABC.
You're watching 28 Tampa Bay News with Marty Tucker and Brendan McLaughlin. Meteorologist Wayne Shattuck and Drew Soicher Sports.
We've all seen the headlines and heard it on the news. Cases of fast food making people sick.
In well-known cases such as the E. coli scare in Seattle, it was the food that was the culprit. This time around, it's something else. Linda Hurtado joins us from the newsroom with a 28 Tampa Bay News investigation. Linda?
Well, Brendan, many of us eat fast food, right? But have you ever felt just a little bit sick afterwards? Many people attribute that queasy feeling to the food they just ate. But biologists say it could be what you're drinking. So we decided to check out that theory, and what you're about to see may make you say, please, hold the ice. In order to test ice for bacteria, we needed a lab. A microbiologist at Geo's told us how to collect the samples. Wash your hands, pick out the ice, and put it in sterile bags he provided. We drove through East Tampa, choosing at random 4 places many of us get ice. A Church's Chicken, a bag of ice from outside of Texaco, Let's try the big gulp. A 7-Eleven, a Subway, and to be fair, we even took a sample from the refrigerator at WFTS. The process takes 24 hours, taking ice and sampling it for bacteria.
This test would be considered an okay test.
Biologist Mike Camerata says that sample came from a bag of ice we bought at Texaco. Compare that to this, the sample from Church's chicken. Notice the green sheen on the dots. Camerata says those are colonies of total coliform, bacteria that comes from the environment. Not necessarily harmful, though. Now look at this, the sample from Subway. Camerata says the blue dots are colonies of fecal bacteria, human or animal waste.
Yeah, I was actually surprised at the high fecal numbers for drinking water, and ice being basically drinking water. I've seen in tests, I've ran several hundred tests, I've seen where you might have 1 or 2 fecals before, but I've never seen numbers this high.
Camerata was so surprised at that outcome, he insisted on doing the test again. Sampling the ice himself this time using a sterile container. But by state standards, what does the test you ran on Subway, I mean, what would the state say about that?
That would be clearly unsafe, the Subway running.
The Department of Professional and Business Regulation inspects restaurants, so we brought the results to them.
It is a concern. We certainly will follow up based on one test sample. We, aren't going to close it down or anything that drastic, but we'll follow up to see if we can further identify exactly what the contamination is and where it is.
Now, I spoke with the manager of that Subway on 56th Street. She says the ice is made right there in that store, and she was very surprised at the lab results. We were surprised to learn no state agency tests ice like that unless someone complains of getting sick. Brendan?
Bottom line, Linda, are we risking getting ill by having an icy soda at Subway?
Well, that's a question. Camerata says he needs to do more testing to see just how contaminated that ice was, and the problem is no one knows where that contamination came from. But Dietrichson told me as a result of our investigation, her agency plans to check it out.
We'll look forward to the follow-up. Thank you, Linda.
Oh, gosh.
Well, guess what? A Bucks ticket may actually become a tough ticket to find.
Ahead on 28 Tampa Bay News, why are fans suddenly so interested in picking out a seat in Tampa Stadium?
And it's starting to look and feel a lot like Christmas. Wayne will tell us if the cool weather is here to stay. Stay with us.